All right, let's get this build underway. Here is the frame. The first video was the steering stem. We are in a different location. I started out in my garage, and I live here in Phoenix. It is record heat, as if it's not hot enough in Phoenix at this time of the year. It's August, so if it's not hot enough, we're having record heats in succession. It's been like 114 or above for about, I'd say, a good 20 days now. So 114 or above in the daytime. My garage is super toasty. So I moved into my recreation room, which fits perfect because sport quads are recreation. It deserves to be in the rec room. So anyway, that's why the location's changed, and it's a little bit better anyway. Much more comfortable in here, even, you know, what the heck. So let's get down to this. First thing we're going to accomplish is we are going to bolt down the subframe right here. This is two pieces. This is the main frame right here. This is the subframe right here. This frame is a 2006. Bought it clean titled, and next on the agenda was to get a subframe. The subframe is a 2007, so these are not matched pieces. So that is why I'm not going to show you how to put this together, because it took me hours to get this together without ruining anything. So I'm just going to tell you how I did it after some wrestling around with it. But anyway, basically what I did was I used this punch right here to line up the last bolt. So there's 4 bolts that hold this together. There's one here, there's one here, and then of course on the other side there are the same. There is one here, and there is one here. And these lower ones are beefier than these top ones. So what I did was I lined up these bottom ones first, where I just slid the subframe in, lined those two up, started them down, and then I got one of these lined up, right? And then the other one was kind of out here. It was and I hit it with a rubber mallet back here, and I got it so that it pushed in close to where it needed to be on this side. And then I took this punch and I put it through. So basically the way this punch is set up is this right here at the end. You can see it gets it's smaller at this end and larger at this end. And this end right here won't go all the way through the hole where the threads are. So basically what I did was I just pounded this in until it lined everything up. And then I just ran a thread tracer through there, and yeah, a thread chaser. Got everything, the threads cleaned up, because I wasn't sure if this was going to damage the threads or not. It seemed like it didn't anyway, but I ran a thread chaser through there anyway, and voila, lined up. But I am not taking that apart and doing it again. But what we are going to do is we are going to Loctite this and torque them down. So that's the first step. Alright, let's back these bolts out here, because we haven't tightened anything down yet. We need blue Loctite every one of these. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. We're going to back them back out and blue Loctite them. So let's get to town. The top ones are a 12. We need to switch up to a 14 to hit the bottom ones. Perfect! Break the T-handle! We no longer have a T-handle. Ah! That's what you get for using plastic tools. Next on the tool list, a real T-handle. You know what? I kind of wanted to do it the easy way anyway. Blue Loctite. Okay. Should have did that in the first place. That was much easier. So, now we can torque these. Let's torque these babies down, shall we? Now that we have those Loctited and snugged down, let's go ahead and torque them up. So the top ones are going to be 31 foot-pounds according to the manual, and the bottom ones are going to be 40 foot-pounds. A little more torque on the bottom than on the top. So we have our torque wrench set to 31 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and hit both of these top bolts with the 12 millimeter. Bottom ones are 14. So let's torque these babies down, shall we? There's one. There's two. Torqued. Let's hit this other guy just to make sure. By God, it's still torqued. Woo! Alright. Now let's flip out to a 14. So let's hook this guy up to 40. Snug it down. And we got our 14, and let's torque these babies down. All right, there's one. There's two. Torqued. Remember, we torqued this top one to 31 foot-pounds. Bottom subframe to 40. Alright, finally a beautiful day in Phoenix. Let's put in a steering stem, shall we? Alright. What we're going to do is we have these pieces right here, all brand spanking new, laid out in the order they're going to go. So we have the Circlip. Actually, these two will be switched around actually. So it'll go kind of like so, and the bearing is in the freezer. Let's give this baby a quick wipe down. All right, then let's take the red and tacky. I don't know if you can see it, but let's get it out there. The red and tacky. We're gonna put a little bit of grease on the inside of this thing. And let's go grab the bearing out of the freezer. We got our bearing out of the freezer. Let's drop that sucker right on in there. And with this bearing, it has writing on both the top and the bottom, and it looks like it is no different on the top or the bottom. Looks like this bearing is interchangeable the way it goes in, so we'll just take our pick and slide that baby on in there and see if we can't get it started. Which we did get it started.
but it's not going in the rest of the way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a socket that fits and we're gonna just crack it a few times in there. What we want to do is get it down so that it bottoms out, and so that it exposes the Circlip slot, which we haven't quite got it there yet. So we need to go a little bit farther. Ooh, it is down there. Perfect. We got our Circlip now, so let's go ahead and grease that up. Get it all goopy and full of grease. And then these clips also, this one is universal, it looks like, because it's no different on one side than the other, but sometimes they have a flat surface and then maybe a raised, like, concave surface here. And if that was the case, then you would put the flat end down. This one, it seems, it doesn't have any difference no matter which way you put it. It is shaped the same. Alright, so we'll just put this right on in here, right on top. And then what we do is we grab the holes, which my deal is not wide enough. Although they are now. Grab this Circlip with the holes, give it a compress, and drop it right in there where it belongs, and let go of it. And it's that simple. And what you probably should do is make sure that it's in there with a screwdriver. But oh yeah, it's in the. You can see that it's in the groove, so to speak. So before we put our steering stem in, we need to put the top seal on. So let's just go ahead and grease this baby up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the insides of these little slots in there with grease. And the inside of here and the outside. And I'm going to put a little more grease into here on top of that the Circlip. We may have to get our socket back out again. There we go, we've got that on there now. Okay, now we can drop our steering stem in there. And now we can take our bushing and put it down in the bottom down here. It should stay with the grease. And now we can put this seal on. And let's just, that's why I want to flip this. That's okay, we can get the seal on there real fast. we'll just grease the seal up a little bit. All right, we'll put all the grease like we did the other one. We'll fill these, fill the slot, and then when we flip it over, after we get the nut on there, then we'll pack it full, and you can see what we're doing here. And then it's not quite in there, but we'll get it once we get this thing flipped over. All right, now we can put the nut on there. That's what she said. Woo! I'll be here all day. Anyway, let's flip this baby on over. Let's get that on. Okay, so now that we have this thing flipped over, this is what we got. So we'll have to use the socket to get that seal in a little bit farther, and then we can torque this nut down here, and then we'll put a cotter pin on, and that'll be that. Okay, so let's use our socket here, and we can get that seal busted in there. Okay, so now I believe we need a 19 for that. The torque specs for the steering stem bottom bolt call for 51 foot-pounds. Then let's spin this locker down right here. Lock that baby in place. Throw our 19 on. And there we go, 51 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and put the cotter pin in. Let's hook up the top, shall we? You betcha. Now we have this in here already. Now all we need to do is put on our new pieces, which I have brand spanking new ones. So what we have here, we have the barrel, which is going to go around the stem itself, and we're going to grease up the inside of there. And then we have the two clamps, which are basically going to sit on the back and the front like so. And then we're going to torque it down to 24 foot-pounds. That's what the manual calls for. So let's get to it, shall we? Pretty simple process. Oh yeah, and we have brand new OEM bolts too. So let's get to it. So first off, we're going to take the bushing, and we are going to load it up with grease. I'm using the Lucas Red and Tacky, so let's put a little on the stem itself. So what happens is it has a little opening right here. So we're just going to clip that, boom, right over the top. Right down to where our grease was. And then we're going to line it up with this right here. Hopefully that stays, yes. Then we should open up the packs of bolts before we get going here. Okay, we want to make sure that we blue Loctite these. So let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure this is aligned right. So this is facing this direction. This guy is over here. This is the cluster, the clip cluster. This right here, I don't remember. This is the clutch, I think, the clutch cable. Anyhow, goes this direction. So let's get it lined up. And we'll get one of these started first. And we'll just drop a little bit of blue Loctite on there. We'll get this out of the way. We'll feed it through. And now that that one's started, now we can drop blue Loctite on this one. And we're going to use the T-handle in this case so that we can get some pressure on it to get it started. There we go. We'll just get them started. You want to make sure this is all working properly and that this is all adjusted right. It seems we got everything under control. We grab our torque wrench and we set this baby to 24. And we get our 12 millimeter, and we'll torque this sucker down. I'm gonna have to go over here. We're gonna have to give it the downforce because the frame wants to move. And there you have it, 24 foot-pounds.